The Thin Red Line is a movie filmed in 1998 by Terrence Malick. The film is a fictionalized version of the Battle of Mount Austin during World War II. The soldiers were brought to Guadalcanal Island to secure Henderson Field and seize the island from the Japanese. Even though the movie is about World War II, it's classified in the Vietnam genre. The combat authority and purpose in this film are important to understand the film as a whole. The combat in this movie is very unique. As I mentioned earlier, the battle is seen on Guadalcanal Island during 1942. When the soldiers reach the island, there's not much going on. We can't really see any other people on the island except for them. Most of the shots are just of the grass and of the features of the island, which connects to the topic that we've discussed in class about the beauty of war. Eventually, as two men start going ahead of the pack, we see them get shots. We see them both get shot, but we can't see who shot them. At this moment, the movie takes a turn for the worst, and the U.S. is bombed and shot at by the Japanese, as we know, but we can't actually see them. All we see is shots, and we know where they're coming from, but we can't see the people actually shooting them, which is an interesting way of showing the combat in this movie. The soldiers try to make their way up the mountain, but continue to be shot at. What was cool to see was that the movie was filmed at a way where the viewers were running with the soldiers up the hill. We were right in the middle of the action during this movie. It is clear that the U.S. is a threat to the Japanese, and that's why they continue to bomb them and to kill them so that they won't make their way up the hill. The U.S. is shot at by the Japanese for about an hour in this movie until they reach the top, where we finally see the faces of the Japanese men that were shooting at them. The purpose in this movie is to secure the hills from the Japanese. The soldiers are told to do whatever it takes for them to accomplish this goal.
I formally request to be given permission for patrol reconnaissance around to the right of Hilton 10 through the jungle. I believe the entire position, sir, can be outflanked with a maneuver-daring force. No! Goddammit, I tell you no! There'll be no flanking move! Now listen to me, Starles. You're not gonna take your man around into the jungle to avoid a goddamn fight! Now do you hear me, Starles? I want you to attack. I want you to attack right now with every man at your disposal. Now attack, Starles! That's a direct order! Sir, I must tell you that I refuse to obey your order. It's not your fault, Jim. He's ordering you to. I again request permission for patrol reconnaissance around to the right in force. The time, sir, is 13:21 hours, 25 seconds. I've got two witnesses here listening to what I've said. I request that you do the same with witnesses there. Over. Starles, don't you pull this guardhouse lawyer bullshit with me. Now, I know you're a goddamn lawyer. This is not a court of law. This is a war. It's a goddamn battle. Now, I want that frontal attack. I repeat my order. Over. Colonel, I refuse to take my men up there in a frontal attack. Suicide, sir. I've lived with these men, sir, for 2.5 years, and I will not order them all to their deaths. Over.
That clip from the movie is a perfect example of how authority is portrayed in the film. As you can see, Lieutenant Tall was telling Captain Stamos an order of how he wanted the men to attack. However, Captain Stamos disobeyed this order from his captain, which shows that he does not respect his captain, and does not believe that his authority, that he is authority over him. Throughout the film, we see Lieutenant Tall, which is the man who is giving orders. We see him putting himself first before his soldiers, which is not what a captain should do. We see him allowing his soldiers to go ahead of him while he stays back and watches. This is one of the reasons why his soldiers don't respect him and don't respect his authority. Bill Clinton was President of the United States from the years 1993 to 2001. Throughout that time, he had an affair with a lady named Monica Lewinsky. This became known as the Lewinsky scandal. Monica Lewinsky was a White House intern. Bill Clinton lied under oath about his affair with Monica Lewinsky. This later led him to be impeached. Many Americans lost respect for Bill Clinton after this happened because he lied on oath about this affair. He lost many supporters, and many people who voted for him thought of him in a different way because of his actions. This relates to the thin red line because of the actions of Lieutenant Tall. His soldiers didn't want to follow his orders. The Vietnam War Memorial opened in Washington, D.C. in 1982. The memorial honored the victims of the Vietnam War by writing their names on the wall. Millions of people visited the wall to show their appreciation for the soldiers and remember those who have died. The memorial brought back many emotions that Americans had about the war. The Vietnam War became a topic that was now discussed again because of the memorial coming out. The Rwandan genocide happened during 1994. It was a genocidal mass slaughter of Tutsi and moderate Hutu in Rwanda by members of the Hutu majority government. 1 million Rwandan people died during this genocide. Fear was brought to America because of this horrible situation that happened in Rwanda. Even though this did not happen in America, Americans were still affected because of the sadness that they felt for the people who had died during the Rwandan genocide. This brought fear back to many Americans. These three events and many others impacted the thin red line. The idea to disobey authority stemmed in many different ways. This carried over into the movie because disobeying authority was a common theme.